Again. So I'm starting our recording here.
Right.
This is Randy Rolfe. I'm an independent Nikken distributor with the company called Nicon, which is the world's leader in research and development of products, non-medical products for consumer use to enhance our wellness. And these are live calls that are sponsored by us independent distributors, don't represent the company itself, but we're just eager to share with you what we have experienced. And we have products not only like this one, product showcase, but also specifically on individual technologies and on how to build a business when you fall in love with the products. So let me just mute the wall. Just stop the noise here. Okay, so I'm going to share, whoops, where did that go? I guess I have to close this up.
Randy Rolfe.
Okay, we're doing this again. No, I don't know why my screen isn't coming up. Let's try again here. Here it is. Sorry, we had to change. I had to change websites, so I'm a little off here. Okay, so Nicon is all about discovering active wellness. So those of you who are on a screen can see the slide of the little family in the woods. It's all about balance and wellness. And I discovered Nicon 19 years ago this month. And I had already done everything I could think of to enhance the wellness of my family, mainly through nutrition and meditation and lots of exercise and outdoor play. But Nicon had a whole nother dimension, and that's why I fell in love with it. I knew about electromagnetic pollution, what modern living was doing to disturbing our natural energy environment. And we are a matrix of electronics, really, electromagnetic fabric that holds everything in place. So when you zap it with alternative energy from alternating current from our electricity. Now we have Wi-Fi, which didn't even exist 19 years ago, which is definitely affecting people's moods and inflammation and that kind of thing. Nicon had in the 70s been developing insoles for the shoes and then a sleep pad to put us back in the Earth's natural energy. And we know from science that all living things require the natural magnetism of the Earth. But in our modern life, we are interfering with that with a lot of alien energies that are completely new to living systems. So I fell in love with it immediately. And what I'd been teaching with families was that everyday decisions about lifestyle is what builds health. And it's not about some huge decision, I'm going to join a fitness club in December, or I'm going to lose 30 pounds. It's about daily decisions. Just skip that donut because I already feel good. Go outside, walk a little because I have good energy and good intention. So it's a compounding effect of daily decisions. Today, things are even worse than they were 19 years ago. The stress level has hit the roof. People are working 2 or 3 jobs and still have trouble making ends meet since the recession. Stress is a silent killer. We've known for 30 years that it contributes a whole lot to the processes of degeneration, the chronic diseases that are killing us and destroying our quality of life. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer are all related to stress levels, and fatigue, allergies, sleep problems, weight problems, mood problems, depression, anxiety are all deeply affected by stress. And we can meditate, we can pray, but luckily there are other things we can do to reduce the dramatic effects that stress can have on our bodies. 70% of people are reporting sleep issues, and of course that's related to stress, and we know now that the immune system is suppressed 30 to 60% from one poor night's sleep. And now we know we need at least 7.5 to 8 hours sleep, and a lot of people aren't getting that. Even if they're in bed for that time, they're tossing and turning and never getting into the deep sleep. Air and water pollution is everywhere. We now know that our indoor pollution can be way worse than even in manufacturing areas. Please mute yourself if there's noise in your environment. 7 million premature deaths annually are attributed to air pollution by the World Health Organization statistics. Water, we now know Flint, Michigan had a huge problem with lead, but a lot of cities now are admitting that they have high lead and many other contaminants. Even bottled water, they found thousands of different contaminants and 260 contaminants at least in many tap waters. So what can we do about that? The people that are suffering most are our children. 1 out of every 5 adolescents is judged obese. Less than half of adolescents are getting the recommended vegetables, the green that cleanses the blood. Low-income families, of course, are way worse off. Less access to health care, less access to quality and fresh food, and of course, way, way more stress. And only 27.1% of high schoolers are getting the right amount of activity. This is an unacceptable situation. We now know that if things continue as they're going, the children being born now will not have as long life as their parents. So that's bad. That in the richest, most advanced country in the world, it's unacceptable. So what is the answer? It's about focusing on humans being more, which is the motto of Nican. It's about being healthy by choice, not by chance. If we leave it to chance, it's not looking good. But if we make just some daily choices, active wellness, where we become aware and act on what we know, we can have a much more healthy, successful existence. This is where Nicon comes in. It's the only company in the world with a comprehensive approach to total natural health. And from the beginning in 1975, when Mr. Masuda started the company, he based it on the idea that true balance, happiness, and enhancement of life depend on balance in these 5 areas: mind, body, family, society, and finances. All these things need to be operating together. If any of them, like a nail in the tire we had last week, the others will start to suffer. If we are surrounded by negative people and have a bad attitude, our family's going to suffer and our work's going to suffer. If our health gives out, obviously we won't be there for our family, we won't be productive in our work or contribute to society. If we spend no time with our family, we'll have more stress because our family will have more problems. If we don't feel we're doing anything meaningful towards society, we'll feel unfulfilled. And of course, if our finances are badly off, everything suffers. But if we're chasing the finances, everything will suffer as well. If we're making a whole lot of money. And I started my first career as an attorney, and I saw that some of the top partners, they had all the money that anybody needs, but their family was not in a good shape. They didn't know their kids. They'd been divorced several times. And of course, in law, there's a lot of adversarial kind of mental attitude. It just was not a healthy idea. So I went into prevention and started a family counseling business and publishing books on health. And Nicon became the perfect vehicle for me to expand that around the world. Nicon developed the concept of the Nicon Wellness Home, where not only your sleep is taken care of with the sleep pad I mentioned, but they developed an amazing water system that not only filters the air naturally like nature does, but it also alkalizes it and mineralizes it and structures it the way nature does. They have a fantastic nutrition line, and being a nutritionist, I really delved into that and was so delighted that they really have been on the cutting edge of nutrition ever since they started 20 years ago with the food supplements. Light is the newest technology, and I have one on my desk. It's a full spectrum light with extra blue, does not flicker because it's LED and low energy use, but it really makes reading easier, and it also helps with our day-night rhythm because it has the right light for us during the day. And then the air system, we have far infrared technologies and air purifiers that get rid of the toxins and actually grab them out of the air with the negative ion technology. So these are our categories. We have so many products, it's easier to think of them in these three categories. The rest and relaxation is the signature technology of Nicon. That insole that you see on the screen was the very first product, and Nicon has sold over 30 million pairs of those, and does business in over 20 countries with the magnetics. The sleep system is extraordinary. People get a better night's sleep on this system than any other system out there because it has the natural magnetism that puts you into deep sleep. It also gives off the far infrared, which gives you the natural warmth from the sun's frequencies, and it also produces the beneficial negative ions. The little square is a back pad based on the magnetic energy, and it also has the far infrared and ionic, and we have miracles with the back pad. And I've mentioned the air and the water and the light, and that funny little thing is the shower system, which people totally fall in love with. And I've told you that I believe the nutritionals are second to none. The juice you see there is the finest juice on the market. There's nothing added except the exotic juices and the highest antioxidant of any juice on the market, and tastes great as well. Our skincare is second to none, and the box you see there, Osteodense, just represents one of the many wonderful food supplements we have. It's based on bioreplenishment for the bones, and it's been published in several different articles that show that it improves the function of the bones even if you already have osteopenia or osteoporosis, and has no side effects because it works with the way nature works to rebuild and keep the bones healthy. So now I'm going to invite my guest, and we'll go a little over time because I got started really late. So let me end this sharing and invite Kathleen Saunders to speak with you. She's a dear friend from England and has had wonderful experience with Nicon. So let's see, Kathleen, if you can unmute yourself and see if we can get you on screen here. And we should have you undo the video too in the lower left, because I don't see you yet. Let's see, maybe I'm just not looking. There you are. Okay, I see you. Good.
Okay, so do you want me to give you some examples of testimonials, or?
Yes, well, first if you could just share, Kathleen, what caught your imagination about the Nicon technologies?
Well, I'll just go back a bit because ever since I was 16, I've been interested in health. I started with yogurt. I thought yogurt was a good idea. So, and that was from Greece because I visited Greece. So that sort of caught my attention in terms of health. And eventually I had my own health food shop. That was after being a business consultant. I actually went into, because I was so interested in helping people with health, I set up my own shop. And the challenge around that was that I had some great staff, but you know, I couldn't pay them very well. So I looked for a different business model, and I came across a completely different model, but also Nicon being a Japanese company. I was always interested in Japanese food as well, so that caught my attention. But the thing that really made the difference to me is I actually got the water just because I was interested in quality water. And I wasn't doing the business. I just told all my friends and family, and everyone's got the water. They've had it now for quite a few years. And everyone loves it. But the thing that really made a difference was I used to get this chronic back pain. Every year I would be laid up for about a week, where I had to crawl off the sofa. So anyway, eventually I had the sleep system, and I noticed that I was never getting these back pains anymore, and which was fabulous. So that disappeared, that whole situation. So that's, and I wanted to tell people about it, you know, I just wanted people to know. I've always wanted to make a difference around health around the world, and my little shop could only do so much, but now I've got the whole world to play with, and a team that also spreads it around the world as well. So that's a concept I love, that I can make that sort of difference, you know. But I have
wonderful, yeah. So what kinds of things are you seeing now, Kathleen?
Well, I just had a recent one which really excited me. It's a customer that I've had for a while. He's got the water and various other things. And I just called him up just to see how he was. And he said, well, for the last 8 months or so, he's got this pain going into his eye. And there is a name for it. I can't remember the condition. But it's triggered by light. And he was on drugs. They helped for a little time, but then it didn't, and then he went into some bone therapy, and they thought it was because of his teeth grinding at night causing it. But basically he was getting to the point where he couldn't be in the light, and he was just in a room with candles, really. And he was upset when he was downloading this to me, and he thought that, you know, this was it for the rest of his life. He used to work a lot on his computer. He loves reading. Anyway, we suggested the sleep mask just as an idea, and he actually called me a week later once he'd used it for 3 nights. He said, do you know what, Kathleen, I've just spent yesterday in this bright sunlight gardening all day. And he said, my wife told me I had to call you because you know, it's making it. Can you imagine, you're thinking you're going blind or something, and then suddenly that's changed. So that was a really big one. I mean, I've had quite a few different ones, but I think for that, I felt quite emotional actually about it. You know, it's made a difference to his life. And he immediately wanted things for his wife's knees and various other things. So he got really excited about the products.
That's awesome. And to have that kind of change just with such a small product, you know, under $100, and here he can go outside again. That's fantastic. And then when people see what these technologies can do, then they want to help others and get more of the products to envelop themselves in that wonderful energy.
Yeah.
Can you share some other stories, Kathleen? I really appreciate this.
Yes, another quite dramatic one actually. In fact, almost as dramatic. I was in a networking meeting, and I was sat next to this lady, and for some reason she just started telling me, she's a gardener. She said, you know, my left-hand side has been going numb for the last 7 years. The doctors didn't know what it was about. I spoke to a chiropractor about it, and they reckoned because she had a car accident 20 years earlier, it was repercussions of that. Anyway, I had her round, and she sat on one of these, she sat on my Nicon seat, which has got magnetics in it. And also, because the numbness was here, and I asked her to lift her arm, and she could hardly lift it, you know. So then I just sort of put some magnets. I didn't actually touch her. I just, you know, waved some magnets for about 5 minutes all around this area. And I said, also I put some insoles on her feet because, of course, the numbness was going down her leg as well. And I said, could you try raising your left arm again? And she went like this, and it went like that, because she was so used to the pressure to push it up. It just sort of flung up. And she said, what was that? She literally said, what was that? And then later on, as we were chatting, she said, the pain in my foot's gone. And I always have pain in my foot at the end of the day. As well as the numbness, there's pain. So, she was quite excited. So she learned the sleep system. And the next few days when she woke up, she'd get up, and she was usually a bit dazed in the mornings, where she was really alert. And she felt stronger in her body. And that was only after a few days. So that's another very interesting one.
That's beautiful. Yes, it's just so exciting to share these products, and so many people are living with conditions that they maybe don't want to take all the prescriptions that are suggested, and they don't want the side effects, and they think, or they've been told they have to live with it. And then someone like you comes along and says, well, maybe there's something harmless that you can do that can change that. And people may not believe it, but when they feel it, it's undeniable.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And if anyone's got the opportunity, they've got a condition, just to try something and see, if it makes a difference. What
can you share about just preventing? Because you have been using the products for a number of years, like I have, and of course we always say, may you never know what you've prevented. But how do you feel about that? About the aging process or that kind of thing?
Well, people often say I look a lot younger than I am.
Yeah,
so that's quite nice. But because I do use most of the Nicon product. I don't use the men's stuff, but I use most of the Nicon products. So, and I have done for quite a few years now. But do you know what? I just recently had someone who, a couple of women who were the rowers in the Olympics for the Czech Republic.
Wow.
So they got the wrist wraps so that they were, had more support, and also they put magnets on their hips so that they could recover faster. So I thought that was quite fun, really.
Yes, that's fascinating. Yes, and so many people that we saw in the Olympics, they were wearing the Kinetic Tape.
Yeah.
And we have an extraordinary enhanced Kinetic Tape with Nicon that people fall in love with. That's great about the Czech.
Yeah, I've got to find out how they did. I know they did well, so I've just got to find out from my my customer in the Czech Republic who sold them to them.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes, and it's wonderful. These products, they are allowed in the Olympics because they're not chemical, they're not changing the body. And actually, the Olympics are interesting because the ancient Greeks, when they did the first Olympics, they would go into magnetically charged caves to prepare themselves for the competitions. So this is a long-standing technology, and Nicon has combined that Asian technology with Eastern, the Asian wisdom with Eastern technology to make products that are easy. We don't have to go into a cave. We can just lie down on our Nicon products, put on our Nicon insoles, put on our Nicon jewelry. Can you share just in general what you'd like to say to people about our products with Nicon, Kathleen?
Well, what I like is that they're right across the spectrum. So, because, with my health food shop, it was about food. And it did make a lot of difference, people eating well and good supplementation. But coming across the whole magnetic thing, and there's a lot, if people look on the internet, there's some really good news bites on doctors talking about the importance of magnetics. And in fact, I saw something recently, what was it? A documentary, and they were saying that every 30,000 years. I think it's 30,000. I thought it was different to that, but this was on the documentary. The magnetic field flips every 30,000 years, and we're getting towards that end point where that's going to happen in the next so many 100 years. Now, we won't be around, but it's actually diminishing apparently. And I love this news bite when they were talking about, when people went up into space, they found that they had bone deterioration because they were not connected to the magnetic field. So anytime now anyone goes up into space, they have the magnetic field on them. Now we're living in concrete, we're living, we don't touch the earth very often, which is what the magnetic field. So I feel we need that. It's not a concept that people are aware of in the West that much. In the East they are. So I think it's important to have, some of these products on us. I mean, this is magnetic. But also, I see it as a first aid kit. If anything goes wrong, like if I get a bad stomach for some reason, I just wrapped, I don't often, but I did about 6 months ago, and I just wrapped my magnetic duvet around me, the far infrared, and it just calmed down. So it's just lovely. And if someone comes in, I had a friend who had a bad knee, he's a musician, and I just stuck a load of the small magnets on his knee, and it calmed down straight away. And he'd had this for months. So, it's nice to have these things available so that, you can help people, but also create a huge business.
Yes, excellent. Yes, and so many people, if you watch TV, you see all the ads for digestive issues, and you mentioned just putting the far infrared comforter around. I love using the back flex, the little square I mentioned earlier, for tummy trouble, any kind of tummy trouble, or just knowing if things just aren't moving the way they should, just put that on your tummy. You just have to play with the products. You can't do too much with them. You can't hurt yourself. So use them for anything, if anything's bothering you. Thank you so much, Kathleen Saunders from England. I really appreciate you being our guest today. And thank you all for watching this video, and share it with others. It will be posted on my channel, Randy Rolfe, and I'll send a copy to Kathleen, and anybody else, just go to YouTube to my channel to see it. And thanks again, everybody. This is Randy Rolfe, a Nican Independent Consultant, and thanks again, Kathleen.
Bye-bye.
Have a great
Thanks.
day.